Now at 5, Joplin police released the identity of the woman struck and killed by an SUV over the weekend. Plus, how local butcher shops are dealing with a high demand for deer processing. And
the deadline to avert a government shutdown is just days away. I'm Natalie Brand on Capitol Hill with details of the funding plan the House is considering.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Joplin police released the identity of the woman who was struck and killed by an SUV in the Sam's Club parking lot on Saturday. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Tanya Bach. Authorities say 69-year-old Connie Bennett of Columbus was walking into the store when she was hit by the SUV around 11:30 Saturday morning. According to the JPD, the SUV was turning slowly into a parking aisle from the main drive in front of the store when Bennett was walking toward the store. Bennett was taken to the hospital, but has since died from her injuries. Officials say the driver remained on scene and cooperated with officers. We want to warn you ahead of this next story. It deals with processing deer, and it will show the carcasses inside the butcher shop. The Missouri Department of Conservation reports 90,000 deer were killed during firearms opening weekend. That means butcher shops across the state are seeing a high demand for deer processing. Downrange Butcher Shop in Joplin says they received more than 60 deer since the weekend. They believe the influx is because other shops are not processing deer due to regulations, and they're expecting the demand to grow.
It will probably be busier if they don't change the rules. This next weekend will probably be busy. If it was colder outside, I think more hunters would be out, really, because cold makes the deer move.
According to the Missouri Department of Conservation, hunters bagged roughly 2,000 deer in Jasper, Newton, and McDonald counties. The Joplin Public Library is connecting stories with the great outdoors permanently. The library installed a permanent story walk in its outdoor classroom. It provides an opportunity for families to read a book through pages installed along the path. The first story part of the walk is We All Play by Julie Flett.
You hear from parents of younger children a lot, like it's hard to get their child to sit for a whole book, which is fine. But this makes it so that you can match their energy while also sharing a book with them.
Story Walk was paid for with a donation from Logan, Emily, Reed, and Marianne Stanley. The library hosted crafts and other activities to celebrate the installation. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joining us with a first look at your forecast.
Yeah. Monday for us today. Temperatures were fantastic. Most of us went 70, 71 degrees for an afternoon high, and we're seeing a pretty good evening right now as we are dropping back through the 60s. 66 in Joplin, Pittsburgh, much of the same. You can see our temperatures around the area. Everybody is mainly into the mid to upper 60s, still lower 70s once you get down across northeastern parts of Oklahoma. But we aren't alone. The entire Central Plains looks pretty good, and this is what we're going to see as we go through the next few days. We do have a few mid and upper level clouds kind of streaming through, but most of the clouds are staying down across the southern parts of the plains. If you are going to be outside this evening, it looks fine. We'll drop back into the mid 40s later on this week. Some changes down the road. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. Federal employees are closely watching what is happening on Capitol Hill this week. Congress needs to act, or else all except essential workers will go home and federal employees will go without a paycheck just before the holidays. Natalie Brand has more details from Capitol Hill.
Congress has until this Friday to pass a spending bill to keep the government open. With lawmakers running right up to the deadline once again, federal employees are worried about their paychecks right before the holidays.
The vast majority make under $60,000 a year. They've got families to support. They've got kids to support.
House Speaker Mike Johnson has proposed a two-step stopgap measure to extend funding through January 19th for agencies including transportation, housing, agriculture, and energy. The other agencies, including Defense, Homeland Security, and State, would be funded through February 2nd.
There's nothing magical or mysterious about it. It would just be effectively 2 phases.
Already, the plan is facing pushback from some House GOP hardliners who are upset the proposal keeps funding at current levels and doesn't make cuts.
Democrats have also criticized the plan, calling it a recipe for more shutdowns, and it does not include emergency aid for Israel, Ukraine, or the southern border, setting the stage for a separate fight.
I'm not going to make a judgment what I'd veto, what I'd sign, but let's wait and see what they come up with.
The Speaker's plan could come up for a vote in the House as early as Tuesday. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
With only 4 votes to spare, House Republicans may need support from House Democrats to pass the short-term spending plans. But working with Democrats to pass the last stopgap measure is what prompted some House Republicans to vote to oust then Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Republican South Carolina Senator Tim Scott announced he is suspending his presidential campaign. Sources say the announcement took many of Scott's aides and donors by surprise. Scott was one of 5 GOP hopefuls who participated in last Wednesday's debate in Miami. The Supreme Court today adopted a code of ethics that will now govern the justices. It's an attempt to improve public confidence in the high court after months of headlines alleging some justices appear to have potential ethics violations. The new code is based on an existing code of conduct for lower courts. According to a statement from the court, it has been adapted to the, quote, unique institutional setting of the Supreme Court. Still ahead, the hottest gifts for the holidays.
Some classic toys are coming back this holiday season. I'm Bradley Blackburn with the gifts that could be hard to get and tips to grab the best deals.
And next in Health Watch, a new study shows a drug designed for weight loss could also benefit your health. Topping today's Health Watch, a simple blood test can spot cases of Alzheimer's disease early when treatment may have the most impact. New findings presented by the Society for Neuroscience show a blood-based test is effective at detecting early Alzheimer's disease with high accuracy across ethnic groups. New research also shows men have more rapid declines in cognition and brain volume than women once amyloid plaques start accumulating in the brain. Well, new research suggests eating strawberries daily might help reduce the risk of dementia. Researchers from the University of Cincinnati observed 30 overweight patients with mild cognitive impairment for 3 months. They divided the patients into 2 groups. One received a powder equivalent of 1 cup of whole strawberries, while others got a placebo. They found those in the strawberry powder group performed better and had a significant reduction in depressive symptoms. Well, there's more proof that cutting back on salt is good for your heart. Scientists at Northwestern University found when middle-aged and elderly people cut salt intake by 1 teaspoon a day, it was as effective as some medication at lowering blood pressure. A popular drug used for weight loss appears to have some significant benefits for the heart. Chanel Call has details.
New research suggests the weight loss drug Wegovy may be effective at treating people with a history of heart problems. This study from Novo Nordisk, the drug maker behind Wegovy, found it can reduce the risk of heart attack, stroke, or heart-related death by 20%.
This is an important study, okay? It's more than 17,000 people, 41 countries. I want to emphasize that these are people who were overweight or obese, so BMI of 27 or above, and they had some underlying heart-related issue. Almost 70% had a heart attack.
CBS News chief medical correspondent Dr. John LaPook notes the study had a lack of representation. Nearly 3/4 of participants were men and 83% were white. Still, he says drugs like Wegovy and Ozempic are showing to have a substantial impact on people's health.
We have to look at the big picture. There really hasn't been a good intervention for people to lose weight. And we know that it's important for people to lose weight for all sorts of reasons. So this is a tool in our toolbox, right? Okay. But it's not the only tool in our toolbox. We do have diet and we do have exercise, and I think that's really important.
Medical experts hope this study encourages insurance companies to cover weight loss drugs and make them more affordable. Chanel Call, CBS News.
Dr. LaPook says these drugs are not meant for people looking to lose just 5 or 10 pounds, and that studies have not closely looked at how the drugs affect people who are not obese. Air pollution may be increasing the risk of chest pain and even heart attack. A study from Intermountain Health tracked wildfire smoke and winter air pollution in the state of Utah. Researchers found short-term increases in fine particulate matter led to higher hospitalization rates for people with heart problems. Researchers believe the pollution could trigger atrial fibrillation. That's a look at today's health news. A little later, what AAA expects the Thanksgiving travel rush to look like this year.
Plus, our temperature is warming up even a little bit more as we go through the next couple days. We're going to check that out coming up next. Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice Monday for us today. Temperature is great all weekend long, and we had quite a bit of sunshine as we went through the daytime hours today. We have a nice shot. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. But the sun is setting. Of course, our evening daylight hours are really shrinking up on us. But if we look back at the month so far, I did forget to change. It should say November, not October. So for November so far, look at this. Most of our days we've been above average. We've only had one day below average, and that was last Thursday, one normal day. But so far, November has turned out to be pretty warm across the area. Look at our temps. We're sitting mid, upper 60s. We're still lower 70s. Once you get down across northeastern Oklahoma, Miami, Veneta, over toward Grand Lake. Looks great. 7th and Rangeline 66. Visibility's good. East-southeasterly winds are light at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. It was a little breezy at times earlier in the day, but these have kind of backed down a little bit over the past couple hours. If you are going to be outside through the evening, of course it's going to be dark here in 30 minutes, but pretty much clear skies. Will drop back through the 60s, 50s, eventually down to about 44 later on tonight, but there's not a whole bunch going on here. We have pretty much clear skies. Now, we do have clouds down to our south. You can see some rain through Louisiana, parts of Texas, a little upper level wave moving right across central Texas. This is going to stay south of us, but it will give us some clouds tomorrow morning. Besides that, all the rain will stay south. So if you look at our upper level flow, you can see that kind of little kink across central Texas. That wave's going to slide through. But look at the waves kind of building out west. This is off the Pacific Northwest, and that's really going to change our weather up down the road as we get into this weekend. And then, of course, next week, heading into Thanksgiving week. For us tonight, we look fine. Let's go mid-40s. We'll get some clouds in here late tonight. As we go through the daytime hours for us tomorrow, temperature is warm, upper 60s. By the time we get to the noon hour, and I think very similar to what we saw today. I think most of us 71, maybe 72 degrees during the afternoon. So it's going to be mild for sure, hair breezy. Tomorrow night, we also look good. Pretty much clear skies across the region, mid-40s for overnight lows. And then once we get into Wednesday afternoon, also shaping up very nice. Temperatures are going to be into lower 70s. So very consistent over the next few days. We're going to have very nice fall-like days as we go through the next couple days. Here's your day planner. 45 in the morning, 66 by noon. High temp tomorrow, 71 degrees, which is pretty good. Now, we do get a cold front. This is going to slide in Thursday night into Friday. With it, we may get a few showers, but besides that, we're going to stay dry as we go through the week. 71 tomorrow, 72 on Wednesday, 71 on Thursday. Cooler Friday with those morning showers. High temp is 60, but again, we get another great weekend. Highs into the mid 60s through the weekend. Better chances for rain early next week. Right now, Thanksgiving is looking pretty good, and I'm standing behind the desk because I broke my foot last week, so I got that big boot on.
And that means you're not going to get to participate in the family football game. Like the actual one.
Oh,
it's
I may
great
still
weather.
play. I may still play. You never know.
We'll see. All right, thanks, Doug. Well, coming up, we'll check out those toys that will be topping kids' lists this holiday season. Topping today's Consumer Watch, whether you're hitting the road or the jet stream this Thanksgiving holiday, you'll have plenty of company. AAA expects 55.4 million Americans to travel 50 miles or more for Turkey Day, up 2.3% from last year and the third highest number since 2000. 49.1 million are expected to travel by car, with 4.7 million people flying.
What AAA is seeing is that people are continuing to travel post-pandemic, and each year the numbers are getting bigger and bigger. We haven't seen any pullback since 2020.
If you're driving, the worst times to hit the road are Wednesday between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. when holiday traffic combines with the workday commute. And for that long slug home on Sunday, AAA advises you get up and get moving early. Well, the countdown is on to the holiday season, which means the race for this year's must-have toys is already underway. Bradley Blackburn has a look at what will be at the top of kids' list and how you can get the best deals.
So this is Tinker.
At the Toy Insider in New York City, it already looks like Christmas morning. And these Santa's helpers are experts in knowing what kids want.
There's going to be a lot of them that'll definitely be hard to find after Thanksgiving.
Editor-in-Chief Marissa Silva says topping wish lists are new magic mixies that transform and crybabies that cry real tears. Plus familiar favorites like Furby, Ninja Turtles, and Elmo. Toys that millennial parents played with and are now buying for their kids.
Parents are the pullers of the purse strings, right? So toy makers are going to want to tug on the heartstrings, the nostalgia.
Everything Barbie is big too, still fueled by this summer's blockbuster movie.
You just cannot escape all of those pink boxes this year.
The Toy Insider says there are ways to snag popular toys and save. Shop in-store to find deals and toys that may be out of stock online. Use price matching policies at big retailers. And don't wait for a hot toy to go on sale.
If something goes on sale later, you can always exchange it or get a price adjustment, but you don't want to miss out and have that toy be sold out if you wait too long.
Tips to get the gifts without tying yourself in knots. Save that for the new high-tech version of Twister.
You do this all day, huh?
Yep.
And start now to get your holiday toy shopping all wrapped up. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Tracking from Circana says toy sales revenue is down 8% so far this year compared to a year ago, so it could lead to bigger discounts this holiday season. If your favorite holiday tradition is grabbing a blanket, a hot drink, and the television remote, this might be the job for you. CableTV.com is looking for a chief of cheer to watch 25 movies in 25 days. The chosen candidate has to keep track of each flick and rank them based on nostalgia, heartwarming storytelling, and holiday cheer. For their work, the chief of cheer will get $2,500 plus a year's subscription to 7 streaming services. Not a bad gig. Final check of the forecast is next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, a heartfelt reunion for an American family whose loved one made an escape from Gaza. And then on KOAM News at 6, firefighters in Aurora, Missouri say a man is dead after a house fire. Plus, we'll have more on how local butcher shops are meeting the demand for deer processing and how a Kansas community came together to save its historic theater. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then the KOAM News at 6. Study from The Ohio State University says pigeons are not dim-witted, but they have bright bulbs for brains instead. They also say the thinking of pigeons and solving problems resembles machine learning and artificial intelligence. Scientists tested pigeons to assign lines to the correct category by pecking a button. Researchers say the associative learning of pigeons is like AI models using increasing ability to make correct answers. I feel like you have a comment about this.
No. No, I was thinking of one, but no, we're not gonna talk about it.
I'm not gonna go there.
Weather looks good though. Tonight we're gonna drop back mid 40s, 71 tomorrow, 72 on Wednesday. We hold into lower 70s into Thursday. We cool down Friday with a few morning showers.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next, and of course, we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Have a great